Hello everybody, so today I'm going to show you how to improve your products, how to make them pop and look beautiful. So we are going to be creating this that you are seeing on the screen. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So I pre-recorded me creating this scene, so I'm just going to comment on how I did this. So yeah, let's get started. So in here you can see me showing you my scene resolution and my camera setup. After that I go to the camera view and I add a plane by clicking Shift A, and then I click R, X, 90 to rotate 90 degrees on the X axis. I then click S to scale it, and finally Ctrl A to apply all transforms so we don't have any weird things happening after. It's always better for you to do this. I then clicked on the Geometry Nodes tab, started by clicking Shift A to add my nodes, and I start with distribute points on faces. This will control the amount of water drops that we want on our scene. Then I add a join geometry so we can see our plane again. Then an instance on points, and finally a UV sphere. That is what I'm going to use for us to create our water drops. Here I lowered the number like really low so it's small, and yeah, this is basically the setup for us to start seeing our water drops. But now I need to shape them, randomize it, and add some distortion. For that, we had a random value to the scale. Play with the value, guys, because everything is different. You can start by following the values that I have in here, but after that, just adjust to your liking, to your scene. Then I added the transform geometry to adjust the shape. And now I wanted to add some noise to our water drops, and for that we need to add a realize instances, then a set position, and finally a noise texture. And now to be able to control these, I also added two vector mats, one on subtract and the other on scale. Okay, so to finalize the setup, I added a set shape to smooth, so we smooth out our geometry, and a set material. Here guys, create the material on your plane and just add a normal material, don't change anything, and then choose in here that material. I will show you later how I actually created the material and how you can do it yourself for the plane and for the water drops. So this is the base, but I wanted to control where my water drops appeared, and I want some really big ones and another small water drops. And for that I'm going to create some vertex groups. So I'm going to call this first one big. For the groups to work, we need to go back to geometry nodes and connect the group input to selection on our distribute on points faces, so it knows what vertex group to use. Go back to the modifiers and we will see a new symbol which is like a cross. Click there and choose point big, which is our vertex group that we just named it. So before painting, click that little monitor like icon in geometry nodes, otherwise you won't be able to see what you are painting. And also we need to add some geometry to our plane, so subdivide it a few times. After that you are going to be able to paint. After painting the big drops one, I created a new group, call it small, and this is going to be our small water drops. I painted, and after that I duplicated my geometry nodes setup on the modifiers and chose the small vertex groups, so I can have two different kinds of water drops. So basically now you are going to see me changing the values for the small water drops. You can follow along and add the same values, but just play around and see what looks better for you, for your scene. And this is it for the geometry nodes setup. I'm going to show you how I created the materials, what objects I used, where did I get them, and where can you get them yourself, and how I set up the lighting and everything else to make our scene feel more appealing and nicer. So yeah, I see you in the other part of the video. Okay, so after that I showed you how to create the water drops, I'm now going to show you how I created the materials and how I set it up my scene. So let's first take a look at the scene. I just have it in here, a bottle. You can use whatever object you want, and this is actually inspiration from one of Derek's tutorials on Skillshare, but I did my own label. The whole scene is going to be in the description down below if you want to download it and you want to follow along and have everything prepared for you. These plans are actually from Polyheaven. I'm going to leave the link also down below so you can download it. And now I'm going to show you the lights and everything. So the camera I showed you in the beginning, I changed the focal length and I made it vertical. This in here is just a plane with a basic material, white, completely white, just to reflect some lights, so reflect the light that comes from here, pretty much. So in this way our object is not going to be completely black in here and it just looks better. And I'm going to show you how I set the light. So I usually set a light on the sides. Maybe in this case I put it a bit behind, just because I wanted to have some nice highlights in here in the plans, but still be able to illuminate my object. And then basically these top lights and the bottom lights, they are here basically to create some nice highlights, and I'm going to show you right here. The first one is the one in the bottom. So I want to be able to create this nice ring. This is just what I do to all my objects. I just like this, and I do the same for the bottom. In here you can actually copy, if you want, the settings, okay, from this one and this one. I do modify the spread a bit, so I can only focus on one part mostly, even though we can see the plants a bit. And so then my main light, here it is, it's the strongest one, and I actually changed the spread as well, so we have a more focused on this side of our object, because I wanted that, and I wanted to create this little reflection. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the materials. And so the materials for the water are actually really simple. The only thing that I did was take all the roughness down, increase my transmission to the maximum, and play a bit with the code as well in here in the weight and the roughness and the IOR. I know that this is not the way that you are supposed to create water in Blender, but I thought it just looked better like this. And now for our glass, the glass is more interesting. So I didn't want all the glass to be completely opaque. You see in here we have some parts that are more opaque, so they are creating, you know, when you get out of the shower and you can see anything. So this is basically the effect that it's creating. To create that effect, I use a noise, see it in here, and a color ramp to modify how strong it is, because if this one is completely black, it's going to be completely see-through, and if this one is completely white, it's going to be like really rough. As you can see, the effect is way stronger if you set everything to white. And so one last thing that I did, I wanted to show you in here, I always change my color management to medium high contrast, and this scene, actually I changed the compositing. I added some glare in here, a fog and a strikes one. I set everything to maximum because I wanted this nice effect. So you can see that it doesn't look as good, and with the glare it just gives a more dreamy look, let's say. And I also added some lens distortion. It's barely visible, but it's there because it also helps, you know, to be a bit more realistic and at the same time to give this dreamy look that I was looking for. This is the scene. You can download the scene down below if you want to, and I'm going to leave all the links down below as well. I hope you liked this video. Please give it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.